Hey everyone, I'm back at my parents' house. It's about, what is it, a mile and a half, 2 miles from HQ, something like that. So it's 1 mile down the street from HQ here in Lady Lake. And actually, this is one of our best ever videos where we did the floors in here. I think it has like 600,000 or 700,000 people watched it. But we're going to do and show you what a traditional. This is a 16-foot garage, or 16 by 7. And so Jeremy's here, so Jeremy and I, well, Jeremy's developed it, I'm going to sell it, is the Dorsalate product. Right? And so this is the latest iteration. We shared a little bit of this on Instagram, but we've been kind of holding back because you had a new product that was coming out that's thinner, lighter, simpler, sturdier, rejects more heat, all good stuff. And so by the time you watch this video, we'll either have it up or it'll be up within weeks. So this is prime time, ready to go. So give me just a 2-minute background. How did this come about? Why are you making this stuff?
Yeah, so had a hot garage. We looked for things, did the double bubble, single foil, taped it up, failed a bunch of times. So just trying to come up with something that would last. Kind of sent me down a journey being an inventor of making a bunch of different versions of it. We had a magnetic version. It was really great, but it was too hard to make, too costly.
Yeah.
And then just kept trying at it, and came up with this. So essentially we came up with a mount. This is a Velcro mount, and these mounts are going to have VHB tape on one side. That's 400-degree VHB tape, and then Velcro. Okay. So that's going to be your mount. You're going to have quite a bit of them. You're going to have 4-inch, 2-inch, and 1-inch mounts around the door, and we'll show you how that layout goes. Okay. And then our actual foil, it's going to come in 2 versions. We're going to have a standard version, which is just the foil. So the foil is going to be silver, always facing out. And then on the inside, we'll have, this happens to be the Thermaskin. It comes in 8 different colors. Obviously, this is white. Has a little bit more of a matte finish. Okay. This also comes in white. It just doesn't look as nice, but it's certainly going to give you the performance and the heat. Just not going to have that matte finish. And then basically this Velcro is what's going to attach to those Velcro mounts. Okay. A standard door like this would take us about 45 minutes to install.
Wow, I'm excited to watch this. Yeah. So, the process, and we'll share more as we get it built, but the process will be, we're going to have a template. We're going to teach them how to measure. We'll have some videos to say, here's how you measure.
Measuring for sure.
Right.
No template needed.
And then you'll be able to place your order on obsessedgarage.com. We'll have the drop down where you choose what the slat distances are. Yep. Right. And then it's built to order. So then your team will build it. And then we'll ship it out to you, and we'll have pricing and all that stuff set up. So this, I don't want to hold you to it, but this door, this 16 by 7, what was this? What's the retail on this?
Real quick. 16 by 7. So this one is going to be $12 a square foot.
So it's going to be $1,350 roughly. Correct. Say $1,500 shipped, or somewhere in that
Shipping
ballpark.
Is included.
Just to give you a reference point for what this is going to cost. And then we expect this to reject.
So it's 97% emissivity. So that's a huge difference in terms of insulating value. 97% of the heat will be gone. Okay. We were just at your factory a little while ago, and the door was 130 degrees, and the front of the panel was 91 degrees. So the temperature, surface temperature, goes down 20 to 40 degrees on any given day.
Jeez, and it's like 50 to 60 degrees outside with overcast. True. And the door's 100-something degrees.
Yes.
So imagine what it is. It's when you're boiling, when hot heat of the summer afternoon where it's shining on the door.
We also have customers up north, not to cut you off, but we're in heat, Florida, but Michigan, it insulates for the cold as well. So if you have a cold garage, it's going to do the insulating for the cold as well.
Gotcha. So this door, my dad already put the foam in it. Yep. And so what's the difference between doing foam versus this? Sure. Do you need to do both?
No. Nope. So for one thing, the foam, just the labor intensity of it, typically you're going to have to take these struts off to get the panel in there. What some people don't realize, and through my journey of trying to make our product, I had taken some struts off and had a door actually fail. This is a weighted system, and when you start taking these off, you can cause some issues. So we were trying to make something that you didn't have to take these off.
Gotcha.
So essentially, cutting all those pieces of size, fitting them all in. Secondly, you have all of this metal that's still going to be exposed. So you're still going to feel a ton of heat coming from here. A lot of the garage doors have holes, so you're just going to basically have holes in your insulation. Ours is going to go over the entire panel. Gotcha. So ours is going to cover this whole section, and it's just going to Velcro right over here, the whole piece. So
And then, would you recommend? Are we going to be redundant? Does the foam help us at all, or I mean?
I mean, I wouldn't take it out at this point. You have it in there. We do have customers that are going to have done that, so I would just leave it in at this point. But it's not going to add any value in terms of what the performance is going to be.
And foam, depending on the type of foam you put in there, could add a little bit of weight to the door, and so you may need to adjust the spring. And whereas this is going to weigh essentially nothing.
Yeah, exactly. The weight's a huge difference. The foam also, if it ever gets dirty or you want to take it out, you have another job. Ours can just, if you're cleaning the car and you wanted to clean your door, you could just unvelcro it and just Velcro it right back on.
Okay, I'll shut up. Show me how this works. Let's do it.
Sounds good. So first step is we actually will we'll clean everything and just kind of prep all these metal areas. These struts essentially is where this system is going to go. We have two different systems. We have a strut panel door and then a non-strut panel door. This is a strut panel door. If you didn't have these struts, we would be able to put it directly on the door, but in this case, we're going to go right to the strut. So we want to make sure that that's nice and clean. In your kit, you're going to get a Obsessed branded little alcohol spritzer. You'll provide the alcohol, but you're going to want to have this little spritzer. It makes it a little easier, and a paper towel. And you're really just going to clean the door. That's really a very simple little process. Make sure everything is nice.
So they want some like 91% Walgreens isopropyl alcohol.
That's it. Yep.
Or all of my guys have CarPro Eraser. They could use that. You could use Panel White. You could use whatever panel prep type product you're using.
You just want to get that off, really. And we typically will do the whole door first, get that done, and kind of move to the next step.
So I'm thinking, you're going to go to the OG site. We're going to, get with Jeremy's team, depending on how, subscribed this is and we'll be making you aware of lead times, how long it takes to get. But once you do your measurements, we'll have some videos, showing you exactly tutorials how to measure. You'll go on the site, click the drop downs, place the order. We'll work with Jeremy's team. We'll get it ordered and shipped out directly to you. And if we sell 10,000 of these things, it might take a little time, but because they're building these by hand, like these are sewn on a machine. If this really takes off, then we'll invest in buying automated sewing machines. But right now, he has people sitting at a sewing machine sewing this together by hand.
That's right, made in America.
So the bulk of your business is business and home, right? Where you're doing actual commercial windows, not so much cars anymore, right?
Yep, we don't do any cars anymore. So mainly, like currently we're getting ready to start all the buildings for Raymond James in St. Petersburg. So lots of big commercial buildings, school districts.
Yeah.
We just did every school in Fulton County, Georgia. So yeah, I mean.
So that's where the heat rejection science comes in for you, and the interest there is on the window tint side, and then you had a little warehouse, right? And you had a problem you were looking to solve. Because we also will be offering this for roll-up doors too.
Absolutely.
And we're doing the HQ doors we were just talking about. So.
Yeah, I mean, being a window tinter my whole life, we tint windows. If you stand in front of a tinted window, you still feel that radiant heat. It's just there's nothing you can do about it. In fact, a lot of tint absorbs heat, so if you touch the glass, it's hotter with the film.
Yeah.
So we've just been trying to look for different solutions for our customers, whether it was a garage door or a window. We have a bunch of different products that are all unique to solve those issues.
So my insulated door at the Middleton house, would I benefit from doing this?
Probably not.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if it's insulated, that would be a bit redundant there.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to put it this summer. I'm going to put a darn thermometer on it and just see.
Yeah.
And then we might do it anyway. It might make my door look better. All right. So these are the Velcro strips.
Yep. They come in three different sizes. So you're going to get 4-inch, 2-inch, and 1-inch. And the reason why is you're going to kind of pick a layout. So when I say a layout, you have these larger spans, and then over here you're going to have some smaller spans, and then over here you have a really small little tiny spot where they always put the bolt about 1 inch over. So you're going to put a 1-inch there, you can put a 2-inch here, and then you can use 4 inches in here. And we'll usually come up with a layout first, lay all our pieces out, then put them all on. And that's about the most labor intensive part about it. The rest of it just sticks on, and then you have to just cut a little U shape around the hinges and you're done. Yeah.
So these are labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Each section, right?
Yeah, so each one is a pre-made panel. So this is panel 2. Okay. So for us, panel 1 is always the top.
Got it.
1, 2, so this will be for this one.
Got it.
And then when you measure, the width is always exactly the same on all the panels.
Yeah.
So you're going to basically measure just to the very edge to edge. And then the panel 1 measurement, panel 2, panel 3, they're going to give us all those measurements because believe it or not, they look the same, but they could be a little bit off.
Yeah.
So you would measure just from the top and bottom of this strut on this door.
Yeah.
So the strut door is the top and bottom of the strut. If it's a non-strut door, it's going to be the bottom and top of that panel.
Oh, the
So it's just
separation, yeah.
Two simple measurements. We get all those and then we custom make it to that. So that's what we do first is we kind of just visualize where do we want the mounts, spaced out. So maybe we'll go, 4 on this one. And then once we have that, we just kind of lay them all on the doors just that we don't change the uniformity. Every foot about.
So this isn't like I'm going to do it completely wrong. It's just you're just picking a somewhat symmetrical layout.
Exactly. And at the end, if you find maybe you need one or more, you can always add them later.
Yeah.
You come with way more mounts than you really need. We purposely do that.
And so explain to us, you were talking about separation from heat. These are a bit more sophisticated than just regular VHB.
Yeah, so we went through the process of trying to attach things to different substrates, and we had a Velcro. So first we had this same mount, and it had the VHB tape, which has never failed and is amazing. But the Velcro, the acrylics that come with the Velcro are rated for high temperature. Mm-hmm. And if you just put it on something with high temperature, it probably would never fail. The issue is we're putting it not so much on this door, but on your door at your shop. The door is getting pulled and it's moving constantly.
Yeah.
Maybe in 2 years, we just didn't know, we didn't feel comfortable. So we changed to where now that Velcro is structurally anchored with a structural sealant. You could put that in water, you can put it in heat. Structural sealant is used in the industries for building materials all the time, where it's on the outside and the buildings are always moving. So it's never gonna fail. So we have a mount that we know is gonna hold up for years.
Nice. And you were doing magnets. Why Velcro over magnets?
Well, for one thing, the time to put magnets in and to put them all perfectly just took an ungodly amount of time.
Okay.
The cost of the magnets was just very expensive. And the truth is, if you're not going to take it on and put it off all the time, you don't really need it to be magnetic. Yeah. So the cost of the Velcro was less. And then also to buy a machine to scale, if you do tomorrow say, hey, we got 300 orders, trying to do that in magnetic, it would be a problem trying to make that many. There's automatic machines when you get into the Velcro systems. So it's also about scalability, being able to keep up with the demand.
I see. So you're going to put 2 because one on the top, one here and one here.
Correct. Yeah, one here, one here.
Yep. Looks like you're doing them somewhere around 8 inches apart, roughly.
Yep. 8 inches to 12 inches. One other thing too that we found is there's a lot of different VHB tapes out there. Aside from this one being high temperature and all that, we found one that the tape comes up.
Oh, yeah. Or you have to, because the red one with the black or the red back, and you're sitting there with a darn X-Acto knife trying to get it off.
And it comes off real nice.
Oh, shoot, I was thinking about that. That would take you hours.
A long time.
Yeah.
So when you put it on, it's just good to give it a little bit of pressure. 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Really hold it on. Give it a little bit of a little push there so that it grabs. And just work your way around it. This is about the most boring and time-consuming part of the job.
All right, this is like a 45 and like an hour deal. You got a 10-minute measure and an hour install. I mean, if that isn't DIY friendly, I don't know what is. We really should do, we're going to do this we're going to do a garage in the summer and we'll show you. We always pick the worst time of year to do stuff like this. It's the coolest it's been. Even yesterday it was like 85 degrees. Figures. Today we're doing it and it's 60 and overcast. And so the product that he's talking about that I did before was, I bought it from Menards. It's called Reflectix. So it's the sort of bubble in between of basically two pieces of radiant barrier. And the problem is getting it to stick to the door. So you buy the Reflectix tape, but you buy 3M spray adhesive, which is a real messy job. And you put it on one section at a time, one like roughly 3-foot section at a time. And then it always separates from the door. And then you just try to nurse it where it stays on. And so this is a much more permanent solution. And it will reject more heat and work better. So in the separate bag, there's a little bag of little 1-inch ones that go on because you want to get it all the way to the edge, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then also, I always put one in here because at first we were cutting around this whole bracket, and actually you can cut it where it'll go underneath, and it'll sit nice and flush in there, so it'll look more seamless. So you just want to put one in there, that way it has something to grab onto.
Because the one thing that stinks about doing the type of videos we make is that you got to actually do the project. You got to finish it, you know. You don't get to just like, well, let me show you how to do it. You got to do the whole thing.
All right. We can probably do panel 2. 4. He's a good installer. Things don't work out with this obsessed garage thing, we'll hire him. So really all we do is we come up and we start from one side and we just tack. And one thing we like to do is we give it a little, we kind of go tight to that stud or strut. We just work the top first, almost like we're laying window film or wrap, and try to keep the material nice and taut. You have to be careful with the white one because it is white, so if your hands are dirty, of course, you try not to get dirt on it. Now, the hinge is, you know, under there. We don't have to go around the hinges, and we just stretch it over the hinge and just start to tack the bottom. If you get to a point where there's a spot you don't like, it is just Velcro. You can peel it off and just start again. And then that's pretty much it as far as the middle goes. And then you're gonna just cut around these hinges. Right, so essentially what you do is you're gonna want a U shape cut out of here so that it fits around here. So typically what we do is we come in with a Sharpie and you just mark, as you see, Corden marked one there, and then we're just gonna put one little mark here. Once you have those marks, like to peel it back, take a scissor to that mark. Mark, just turn it. Again. That's the whole install. And you just repeat basically on all the hinges on the sides. This one's just a little different. You would cut this one here and here, and then instead of cutting, there'll be a little flap. You just push it underneath there. So that one's just a little different, but basically the same thing. And you just repeat on the entire door. And then there's just one little process for this one that we'll show when we do that one. You just kind of repeat through the whole door panel here.
I mean, obviously we're not underneath this thing. Do we find this piece?
I mean, you can, I have seen this get a little bit warm, but I mean, the majority of the heat, if you ever peel this back, you'll immediately just feel a ton of the heat.
Yeah.
So I'd say the majority of the heat is obviously coming right here.
Yep.
We did at one point try to go around this. It looked really bad.
Yeah.
You can feel how lightweight one of those panels is. And that's with the, with the Thermoskin. So without that, for a standard one, it's like it weighs nothing. What really is given all the weight is this material here.
So the standard one is just the shiny.
It's shiny. It's white. I'll get you a piece of it. So it looks white. It's just not as nice. It just isn't. It's like a little bit, just not matte finish.
So we're gonna have a couple of price tiers. So he's talking about where it'll be a little bit cheaper.
Yep. This one's even easier because there's no hinge. So you just can really just roll this one out. Yep. This will be your easier panels.
And so if you don't care how it looks, we're talking about $500 difference on a door this size.
And it's the same performance.
Yeah, see, it'd be simple. If you wanted a spot where you wanted a little bit more Velcro, just stick it on there.
Yep.
Pop it off, stick it on.
The thing too is we don't expect these mounts to ever fail. They're rated. But let's say 5 years, 7 years down the road, if something did fail, it would just be the VHB tape to this metal. Again, don't expect that, but your product is going to be fine. You can always just buy another mount.
Yeah.
So even if we had a failure, after the warranty period of 5 years, it would just be buying these mounts, which isn't going to be a terrible expense, and this will last forever. gonna grab this one.
I need to put this on the Helen doors. The Helen doors are wood, solid wood.
See the mounts are what takes forever. It seems like when you start doing this, it's just like seems
Yeah,
like you're actually doing some work. So with that one, it's just a little bit different. This one's a lock. So for this one, you're just putting the line right here and right here because you want it to go around that box. So you just mark where that box is, and then you just make the same little cut. Never take that off. This one right here on both sides typically is going to be, normally they have a red like warning sticker to not dismantle these, but typically these are connected to a wire that has to do with like the door going up and down, and they're under extreme tension, so you never ever ever want to do anything to that on either side. Go. So what we do with this one, there's a couple ways to do it, but what we found is we cut a little slit. So you'll see on this side here, there's two pieces of Velcro. We're going to cut that down basically so that it fits around this bracket. And we'll do that before we put it up, and then we'll cut the 4 little slivers out of this so it fits around this hinge. So you want to go ahead and cut it. So see, he's already measured how far down he wants that cut to go, which is what, 4 inches?
3 3/4.
3 3/4, and you cut right in the middle. Let me show you where it's going to be right in the middle. We're just doing it like this so that it goes back up exactly how it's going to sit on the door. Why don't you do the middle first? If you notice on this one here, so I didn't cut, so on these, I cut out for that bracket, but this one here I didn't. So I just made the 2 side cuts and I put that back behind that bracket. And that way it looks a little bit more seamless. If you cut that out, it's fine, but then you'll see the metal of the door there. 1 o'clock. What time did we start that?
I think you're about right. I think it's about 12:15 or so. 12:10.
That's a lot of talking and
Yeah.
That's usually under an hour, especially once you do a few of them. For us, we get even less, but.
Yeah. So then this won't move.
Correct.
Won't.
Yeah, put it up, put it down. You can take it off. You can put it back on if you really need to, but other than that, it'll be there as long as you leave it stuck on the door.
In order to get the best performance, so you end up with a little bit of lumpiness because you're going around the hinges.
Correct.
Right. And so that's just part of the thing you got to get over.
Yeah.
Right. You make a choice. Do I want it cool and comfortable, or do I want it to be a straight, flat piece?
Yeah. So on the non strut doors, it's a little bit different of an installation. You do one at a time, and you'll unbolt one hinge, so you'll actually put it underneath the hinge on those. So those it does lay flatter.
Got it.
The ones with the strut, because we don't want to take those off, we're going over that hinge, so you have that little tiny bubble. But now for insulation, you have the whole thing covered, which is going to be much better.
Yeah. Nice. So coming soon. So here's what the commercial version looks like in black. And so you can see same concept where they're putting the Velcro in strategic positions. and they're able to kind of do it in sections. This is a 20-foot by, I think, 14-foot door? Oh, no, 12-foot door, 12-foot tall, 20 some odd feet wide. And so we had taken the previous gen stuff off. Jeremy's taken it off and then replaced it with the new version. It's quite a bit thinner than the other, and so it will fold up nicer because the way this door rolls on itself up in that drum, it'll just stay in the position even better, and it performs better as well. Material looks better, the logo prints better. It's pretty cool. And so we'll also be offering commercial door solutions as well for most door types. We'll be doing the commercial version. You can see it has the same, sort of radiant barrier type stuff on the one side, and then the vinyl on the other. So we're gonna have both of these doors done. Now in this case, these are saving us, a lot of money per year, in thousands of dollars per year in electric cost. I'm not 100% sure how we'll have this on the site, but it'll be something similar. So we'll have a commercial version, and we'll have a retail, like a regular residential version, I should say, not retail. And so I think it'll be a similar. We'll have a measurement FAQ, how to measure and what you need to know, what we need to know in order to produce it. But again, it'll all be custom made to fit your door specifically. And so we'll share the directions, and we'll have tutorial videos on exactly how to measure and how to get it. Right now, if you're watching this video early on and it's not all vetted on the site, you can always just reach out, shoot me an email, and we'll connect with Jeremy and we can get it custom built. These doors are quite a bit more expensive because they're bigger, but again, just take your square footage, $12 a square foot, roughly. And so if you're 12 by 20, 320 square feet, what is that? $3,000 or so for this door. These are quite a bit more expensive, but we can figure that out and help you price that out. This is pretty sick. So this is the entry level he was talking about, the base version. See how it's kind of shiny? It's not quite as, I guess, acoustic as well. So it's a little bit thinner. But then we have black. The gray is pretty sick. Gray. We can do it, and this is the white that we did at my dad's house, red. So we can do different colors as well. That's pretty sick. It does, yeah. I like the black. And I think that also, white is gonna show, like for your door hinges and stuff, will show a little less lumpiness on your residential door. But I think a lot of people are gonna choose, some of these other colors too. I didn't even think about that. That's sweet. Coming very soon. Hopefully it'll be available by the time you watch this video.